Japan has launched a new supercarrier into the sea. A billion-dollar warship built not for ceremony, but for consequence. In this video, we break down why Japan's newest carrier represents one of the most significant shifts in the balance of power in the Pacific, from its redesigned flight deck and F-35B capability to the extreme maritime missions it is now built to support. For most warships, relevance has a shelf life. Steel corrodes, electronics age, threats evolve faster than hulls can adapt. Navies feel this pressure more than most. Destroyers are replaced, submarines are upgraded. Carriers, once symbols of dominance, become expensive relics if they fail to evolve. And yet, in 2026, Japan has chosen not to retreat from complexity. It has chosen to expand it. At the center of that decision is the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, and a warship that blurs the line between helicopter destroyer and full aircraft carrier. The vessel began its life under a different identity, officially classified as a multi-purpose destroyer, politically restrained, strategically cautious. But the world changed. The Indo-Pacific grew tense, missile ranges increased, maritime borders hardened, air power over water became more decisive than ever, and Japan adapted. The carrier most closely associated with this transformation is JS Izumo. Launched years ago as a helicopter carrier, it has now been extensively modified, reshaped, reinforced, and recalibrated to operate fifth-generation fighter jets. The most visible change is the flight deck, reinforced with heat-resistant coatings, restructured at the bow into a more squared design, prepared to withstand vertical landings from short takeoff aircraft. Because this ship is no longer limited to helicopters. It is designed to launch and recover the F-35B Lightning II, a stealth fighter capable of short takeoffs and vertical landings. This changes everything. A helicopter carrier projects presence. A fighter-capable carrier projects power. The F-35B brings stealth, networked targeting, advanced sensors, long-range strike capability. Combined with sea mobility, it creates a floating airbase that can reposition across thousands of miles of ocean. Japan has not called it a supercarrier in official language, but in operational reality, its capability has expanded far beyond its original doctrine. The carrier is not built to mirror American giants like the USS Gerald R. Ford. It is not nuclear-powered. It does not carry dozens of strike aircraft. Instead, it reflects something more strategic: precision, mobility, layered defense. In modern naval conflict, size alone is no longer dominance. Survivability, integration, and speed of response matter more. The new Japanese carrier operates within a broader network. Aegis-equipped destroyers, advanced submarines, land-based missile systems, U.S. alliance coordination. It does not sail alone. It sails connected. Extreme missions in the Pacific are not defined only by war. They include rapid response to territorial incursions, air defense reinforcement over contested waters, deterrence patrols near flashpoints, humanitarian disaster relief in typhoon-prone regions. A carrier's value lies not only in what it launches, but where it can arrive. Mobility is power. From the East China Sea to the Philippine Sea, a mobile air wing alters strategic calculations overnight. A land airbase can be mapped, targeted, anticipated. A carrier moves, and movement forces uncertainty. There is also symbolism in steel. Japan's post-World War II constitution limited offensive military capabilities. For decades, aircraft carriers were politically sensitive. But modernization does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it is incremental, technical, justified by defense. Yet the result is unmistakable. Japan now possesses a sea-based fighter platform capable of operating advanced stealth aircraft, and that shifts perception across the region. The upgrades are not only physical. Digital integration is critical. The F-35B is more than a jet. It is a sensor node, sharing data with ships, satellites, and allied forces, extending awareness beyond the horizon. The carrier becomes part of a networked battlefield. It sees farther, responds faster, coordinates smarter. Unlike Cold War carriers built around overwhelming mass, this new generation emphasizes survivability and information dominance. It is not about launching the most aircraft. It is about launching the right ones at the right moment. There is also a logistical reality. Operating F-35Bs at sea requires maintenance expertise, deck coordination, and pilot training that few navies possess. Japan invested heavily to develop that capacity, because building the ship is only the first step. Mastering it is the real challenge. Extreme missions demand endurance. The carrier can remain deployed for extended operations, supported by replenishment ships, escorted by layered defense vessels. It does not sprint into battle. It sustains presence. And in modern geopolitics, sustained presence can be more powerful than sudden force. Critics argue that carriers are vulnerable in an age of long-range anti-ship missiles, that hypersonic weapons have rewritten naval doctrine, that large decks at sea are too exposed. But vulnerability has always defined power projection. Carriers are not invincible. They are influential. Their existence forces planning, forces deterrence, forces hesitation. The launch of Japan's upgraded carrier signals more than modernization. It signals intent. Not expansionism, not aggression, but preparedness. A recognition that maritime security in the Indo-Pacific requires flexible air power at sea. The billion-dollar investment is not just in steel and electronics, it is in adaptability, in choosing to evolve before crisis demands it. The irony is subtle. A nation once defined by its carrier fleet in the early 20th century spent decades avoiding the term entirely. Now, without dramatic declarations, it returns to sea with a carrier built for a different era. Not for conquest, for stability. Not for overwhelming numbers, for calibrated strength. So when people ask why Japan launched a new billion-dollar supercarrier into the sea for extreme missions, they assume the answer is about dominance. It is not. It is about deterrence, about mobility in uncertain waters, about air power that can relocate overnight, about ensuring that the balance of power does not tilt quietly in someone else's favor. Technology does not matter because it is large. It matters because it changes calculations. And in the Pacific, calculations shape peace. Japan's new carrier does not guarantee conflict. It aims to prevent it. Because in modern strategy, the most powerful weapon is the one that convinces others not to test it. And now, floating in open water, Japan's newest carrier carries more than aircraft. It carries a message.